In this video, we'll go over how to uninstall a XLS tape library. When uninstalling the library, you want to first of all make sure that the library is fully shut down. So you want to go through the library menu system and do a full library shutdown. You want to verify that the power has been turned off. After you've verified that the library has been shut down, or you want to verify that the power switch has been turned off, you want to go ahead and disconnect the power cord. Now, depending on what options you have in your library, you may have different types of power cords. What's important to remember here is that the power cords may be unique to the XLS library, so you want to make sure to keep the power cord with the library so that when the library is moved, the power cord is also shipped along with the library. After disconnecting the power cord, you also want to go back here to any of your tape drives, and you want to disconnect all fiber cables that are connected to your tape drive. You also want to go down here to your library and open up your library and disconnect the fiber cable or any cables that are connected into the library. You also want to disconnect your Ethernet cable. Now, if the library that you're uninstalling has a MEM module attached to it, you are going to have to disconnect the MEM from the LRM. So in order to do that, you go to the back of the MEM module here, and you want to remove this panel here down at the bottom. Now you just remove the outer screws that keep the panel in place. So once you've removed all the screws, you can go ahead and remove the panel. Once you have the panel removed, you can see that the circuit board here, and you see some cables here. You will need to disconnect the cable. This cable is coming from the LRM, and it's how the MEM and the LRM communicate. You will have to go ahead and disconnect this cable. And then you want to go ahead and put this cable back to the LRM. Now, depending on the model of your library, you may have an additional Y cable here. Once again, just like the power cord, that cable is unique to the XLS. So you want to make sure to keep the any additional cables that are removed with the library or with the MEM, so that when it gets to its final destination, it can be reused to install the library again. After disconnecting the MEM from the LRM, you want to go ahead and identify the 3 bolts that attach the 2 modules together. Now there's 3 bolts in the back, and then there's also 3 in the front. So you want to get a 1/4 inch socket wrench here and identify the screws, and just go ahead and remove the 3 bolts. After removing the 3 bolts from the back of the library, you want to go to the front. You want to go ahead and open the front door of the MEM module, and then you want to go ahead and identify the 3 bolts that connected to the LRM in the front. Now, there's going to be one in the top, the middle, and the bottom. The one in the bottom is underneath this door sensor, so it is really difficult to get to. Best thing to do is to get your wrench in there and then just kind of turn it slowly and just kind of ease it out. Just keep going slow, just to get it loose enough where it's hand loose, so you can just go ahead and remove it with your hand. So once you get this bottom bolt loose, you can go ahead and twist it off with your hand. Now at the end of the job, you should have 6 bolts in your hand. Just like the power cords and any additional cables that we talked about previously, you want to make sure that you keep these bolts with the library, and so that wherever the MEM and the library are sent to, you want to make sure that these bolts go along with the library. Once all the bolts have been removed, you want to go ahead, the modules are ready to be moved. So in order to do that, you want to go ahead and lift up the feet that are keeping the libraries in place. Now to do that, you're going to have to kind of reach down, look underneath the library. You're going to have to identify the feet. Now, when you get to the feet here, you're going to notice that there's 2 bolts that kind of keep the feet in place. So you want to go ahead and loosen the top bolt. In this case, it was already loosened, so I didn't need to use the wrench. So you want to go ahead and bring that top bolt all the way down, and then you can turn that bottom bolt, and you should see, you can start turning it, and you can see that the foot should lift up. And you just want to turn that so that the foot goes as high as it can against the frame of the library. So after lifting up all the feet on the LRM module, you want to go ahead to your MEM module, and you want to go ahead and identify the feet that are keeping the MEM module in place. Now, depending on which MEM you have, because there are two different size MEMs, the number of feet will vary. So make sure that you look underneath the library and that you've lifted all of the feet that are keeping the library in place. So once all the feet have been raised, you're now ready to go ahead and separate the two modules. So you can go ahead and start slowly pulling the MEM away from the LRM module, and you'll notice once that you have the two separated that there's these alignment pins on the MEM module. Once again, just like the bolts and the power cord and the other cables that we talked about earlier, you want to make sure to keep these alignment pins along with the MEM so that it travels together, so that when you need to reinstall it, you'll have all of the appropriate pieces. Now, after the modules have been taken apart, now you want to get the LRM ready for shipment. All you really have to do now is you want to tie down the arm so that it doesn't incur any damage during the move process. So what you want to do is you want to go ahead and grab your foam pad here. You want to go ahead and open the door of the library, and then you want to go in there and you can manually lift the carriage assembly upwards. Now, you also want to move the carriage so that it's all the way to the right. And then you want to go ahead and just manually lift the arm upwards. You want to go ahead and stick your foam pad underneath and gently let the arm fall. So once you've placed your foam pad down the cover, you want to go ahead and set up the library, and you want to tie down the arm so it can't really move from side to side. So what you want to do is you want to grab two zip ties, and you want to go ahead and connect them together. You want to go ahead and lift up the arm again. So you want to go ahead and put your tie wrap underneath the beam, and then go ahead and weave it through the mesh here, and then you want to go ahead and tighten it down. Once you have it tightened down, you want to go ahead and move the arm so that it's touching, so that it's kind of stopped against that zip tie. And then you want to go ahead and grab your other set of zip ties, lift up the beam again, and then put it on this side, weave it through the mesh panel here so that the zip tie is here, and then that will lock the carriage or the gripper from moving from side to side. So now that we have this zip tie also in place, the gripper won't be able to move side to side, and it also cannot move up and down any longer. So the library or the gripper is now ready to be moved. Okay, now that the gripper's been tied down, the modules, the LRM and the MEMS have been separated, all the cables have been disconnected, the unit is ready to ship. The last thing you want to do is you want to do a quick check inside the library and just make sure that there's no tape anywhere in any of the storage slots. You also want to take a sneak peek and look inside and see if any of the I/O ports have any tapes in them or magazines. If they do, you want to go ahead and pop open the I/O port and remove any of the I/O port magazines. So once the modules are taken apart, now that you've completed tying up the gripper and getting the LRM ready to ship, you want to go ahead and get the carousel or the MEM ready to ship. Now, there are two size MEMs in an XLS library. One is the 89,000 and the other one is the 85,000. The 89,000 is the bigger of the two. For the 85,000, the smaller mem, you don't really have to do anything. That you can just go ahead and ship the carousel as it is. But on the 89,000, on the bigger mem, what you do is you have to enable the shipping locks that prevent the carousel from spinning. It will also lift the carousel slightly to prevent any weight on the bearing. So in order to get the 89,000 mem ready for shipment, you want to go ahead and grab an Allen wrench, 5/16 Allen wrench, and you want to go to the side of the mem, and you want to go ahead and look on the bottom, and what you'll see is you'll see the shipping locks down here at the bottom. You'll see 2 Allen screws there. You want to go ahead and, with your Allen screw, go ahead and remove both of the screws here. And you can go ahead and now, once both of them are removed, you want to go ahead and look underneath the library. And what you will see is, if you look at this plate here, you may have to manually turn it a few times until you get to a plate that has holes on the bottom plate. That's what tells you that the carousel is in the proper position. Here is a close-up view of the notches underneath the shipping plates that you need to align with the shipping locks. If you look closely here, if you look at this under this plate here, you see that there's no notches, and if you look here, you see that there's a notch here and here, which corresponds or is aligned to where the shipping locks would go here. So you just want to make sure that you may that the alignments here is lined up with the holes down here. You may have to manually turn the carousel a few times until you actually find the proper plate, and you want to go ahead and position the carousel so that these are aligned with these bottom screws here. After you've identified the holes on the bottom plate of the carousel and you've aligned it the way in its proper position, you want to go ahead and grab one of the screws and go ahead and start lifting. Now, once again, the 2 bolts, one of them is used to lift the carousel, the other one is to lock it into place. We want to go ahead and lift the carousel first before locking it into place. Now, to lift it, what you're going to do is you're going to do the left side screw first. So out of the 2 holes, you want to go ahead and do the left one first. You can go ahead and hand tighten it until it reaches its limit, and then you want to go ahead and grab your wrench and go ahead and turn it to lift it up. Now, once you've lifted it up, you want to go ahead and then go to the other side of the library and do the same exact thing. If you go to the other side of the library, you'll find an identical setup here with the same housing, with the same Allen screws and the same alignment. So you want to go ahead and lift up the carousel. You want to go ahead and, once you can't tighten it with your fingers anymore, you want to just go ahead and put the Allen screw in and finish tightening the bolt. So after you've installed the lifting screw on both sides of the carousel, you want to come back, and now you want to grab your other set, and then you want to go ahead and lock the carousel into place. So it's the same thing as with the lifting lock. You want to just go ahead and turn it as much as you can with your hands, and then once it's reached its limit, you want to go ahead and grab your Allen wrench and go ahead and tighten it the rest of the way. So after both of these Allen screws have been put into position, the carousel should be locked into place and ready for travel. Now you're pretty much done. Everything's been checked. You can go ahead and close your front door. And now the library is good to go. Now you have a couple of options. You can place the unit onto a pallet and ship it with the pallet. Another useful way of doing it is getting a heavy shipping blanket, the blankets used to ship refrigerators and other major appliances. You can get those type of heavy blankets, wrap the library, and go ahead and load the library directly onto the truck. When the library gets put on the truck, do not put its feet back down. Just leave it on its wheels and just tie the unit down. And that should ensure a safe transport to your final destination.